More people should be speaking out against this, especially the LGBTQ community, because they already have such a bad stigma associated with them when it comes to switching sexes and the charges that Sidney Starr has recently been charged with. Now, I'm not saying that that is the case for everyone, but there is a stigma out there, and a way to help fight that stigma is to speak out against it. Now, Sidney Starr recently got arrested for doing something very despicable to a minor. I am not that familiar with Sidney Starr until this story came across my feed. Now, the first time I remember seeing Sidney Starr was, I believe she was on an episode of Star, which was a great show, by the way. I kind of wish it didn't get canceled as early as it did. Outside of that, I remember her on the show, not the show, on No Jumper, and she was talking about the Darius. I can't think of his last name right now. The guy from Family Matters, Eddie Winslow from Family Matters. He was going to pay for the bottom surgery, and I thought that was very odd because I remember for the longest time that was on World Star other websites, and he was denying it and saying how he wasn't in that field when it comes to his sexuality. And then all to come to find out, they had a No Jumper interview, uh, and it pretty much got exposed in there. Now, normally, whenever I cover people like this, I go over their social medias. Unfortunately, with Sydney, I really can't go over hers. I would normally show it with you too, but her Instagram shows a lot of cleavage and stuff, and I don't want to get my channel hit. And then same thing for Instagram, and then her Twitter showed me that uh, she is just a full out P star, which I don't understand how. If you look at the description, like if you just Google it, it would say like actress, model, but it doesn't mention, P star, corn star, only pans, things of that nature. It just shows that they doing something that's more socially acceptable when it really isn't. And I'm not saying if you're doing adult work that's a bad thing, but they seem to omit and change the meaning of what adult work is as of recently. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go here. Also, this is Fox 5 News Atlanta. Fox 5 News Atlanta.
The charges in this story are disturbing, and I just want to say that before we get into it. Reality TV personality Sidney Starr is behind bars.
See what I mean? Reality TV star. But again, that's not, they don't mention anything else. It's the more acceptable things of it. Why not make it sound like that she is as filthy and disgusting that she is? A reality TV star, yes, you can debate if that's a good profession or not. However, it doesn't have that same stigma as somebody in the corn industry. Anyways, let's continue.
In Fulton County, facing severe felony charges involving a minor. Hapeville police arrested the model and television personality whose legal name is Sydney Favors on Sunday.
See, model and I don't get it. They mention everything but the stuff that most likely pays her bills, which is the OF stuff.
At the Embassy Suites on International Boulevard. Police say Favors is charged with sodomy, sexual battery against a child under 16, and aggravated child molestation. Starr, known for her appearances on reality and drama series including Baddies and Empire, remains held in custody at the Fulton County Jail.
You see, I didn't know that she was on Empire. I thought it was Star. I could be wrong there. But as far as look, why is it when it comes to the LGBT community, when it comes to these kind of charges, they still try to make them sound like a very respectable person of the community? Just go ahead and say what it is. She's a con artist, she's a user, and she's an abuser. Let's just call it out for what it is. Let's not give it titles that an average person would be okay with having. Not a model and reality TV star. That's somebody, the person who deserves those titles are the people who actually obey the laws and don't take advantage of kids. This person is a disgusting user, abuser, and an escort, in my opinion. Just call her for what she is.
Investigators confirmed that the case has now been handed over to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office for prosecution, and due to the victim's age, police say that no additional details will be released regarding the case at this time.
So folks are obviously looking at a picture that a Fox 5 Atlanta viewer had sent to us from, it looks like, is this one from when she was arrested?
Yes, this is from her arrest on Sunday at the Embassy Suites. One of our viewers sent us this picture and sent us a little bit about the investigation. And so we reached out to Hateville Police after that and got confirmation of her arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see here. And that's the mugshot right there. I was just kind of clicking in there, doing some research earlier. Let me see here. Sidney Starr age 37. Born in Chicago, Illinois, February 5th, 1989. So almost a 40-year-old woman was with somebody under age of 16. That, and you're in Atlanta of all places. Atlanta is very LGBT friendly, right? I don't go to Atlanta often, but I do remember there was one part of Atlanta that was kind of like the gay part. I'm just calling it for what it really was. It's the gay part. It had like rainbow roads and stuff like that. And this was years ago, so I can imagine what it's like now. But that's just the gay part of Atlanta. So why would you need to go after a minor when you have a full community? I mean, Atlanta's a very open. In fact, most women talk about how a lot of men in Atlanta are down low, and there's a lot of, it's a really big transsexual community. I'm gonna say transmutation, transsexual community over there. So why would you need to go after a minor? You shouldn't be that desperate. You know, it's not even desperation. It's just a sickness. And this is why I said that LGBT, God, there's too many alphabets and stuff in there. Anyway, that community needs to speak out against this, because it's all too often they always say, hey, if you're part of the LGBTQ community and all the other kind of stuff, you're more than likely into minors and all this other kind of stuff. Y'all need to come out and say this person is disgusting, a horrible human being, and leave it at that. You guys tell me what you think. This person has obviously been associated with famous people. In fact, didn't Sidney Starr mess up a rapper's career at one point in time, if I remember correctly? Yeah, didn't she lie and say that she hooked up with a rapper, and because of that he like lost all his deals and everything else? Who was that rapper? Let's see, lie on a rapper. Oh, Chingy, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, Sidney Starr destroyed Chingy's career, all because he was nice and took a picture with her. So this person has always had a very disgusting vibe about themselves. See, he was nice, took a picture, nothing that serious. And then I think if I remember correctly, it's coming back to me now. She lied and said she hooked up with him and all kinds of stuff. And that just messed up that man's career. It just ends the picture. He didn't seem that into it. He just standing there. I was like, oh yeah, hey, there we go. Anyways, I think years later, if I remember correctly, she did clear the air, but at that time, it was already a done deal with. Anyways, like I said, Sidney Starr is a disgusting human being. She had opportunities to be with legitimate famous people like Eddie Winslow. She was on TV. The news thing said Empire. I thought it was Star. It was one of those shows in the same universe, if I remember correctly. And she does OF, right? There is no reason for this person to go after a child. And somebody under the age is 16 is crazy. There's no way of mistaking somebody under the age of 16. Now, I do know there are some young men that can look older, that probably will lie about their age. But when you get to a certain level in life, not even a certain level, I remember when I turned 18 years old, my dad told me, he was like, Aunt, now that you're 18, whenever you go out with a female, you need to check her ID first. If she don't have her ID, you need to leave her alone. He told me that because he said they will arrest you and prosecute you and charge you without asking a single question and believe her 100% of the time. And I am so grateful I always listen to that advice. It doesn't matter if you're a woman at a club. I mean, let's be real here. How many times have you gone to the club? I know clubbing is not that big of a thing now, but back in the day, how many times you gone to a club and somebody underage would get in with a fake ID? Hell, sometimes they only check the ID because they want to get more females into the building. You got to protect yourself. So with Sidney Starr being born a man, transitioning into a woman, and granted the past of her doing people dirty, you would think that person, Sidney Starr, will have enough sense not to sit here and hook up with a minor. And there's no excuse for it. She has the benefits of both sides, male and female, right? I really wish the media would stop calling people of the LGBT plus community models, actresses. Just call them for what they are when they do something wrong like this. Abusers. Sidney Starr, an abuser of a minor. Easy headline, right? But anyways, you guys tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. I need subscribers. And have a good day. Thank you.